We all thought that Huggy Wuggy was an evil monster, the villain of Chapter 1, but we were completely wrong. This monster, which was a nightmare for some, actually has such a sad and tragic story that it might even make you cry. And today I'm gonna tell you about it. Before becoming the hate-filled monster we all know, Huggy Wuggy was simply a stuffed toy that all the children loved.
His name is Huggy, Huggy Wuggy. When he loves you, he'll never stop.
In 1984, Playtime Company created this special stuffed toy, which quickly became one of the best-selling products, and soon after they made him the official mascot of the company. Huggy was a companion to millions, where hugs were his main function. Huggy Wuggy represented love and happiness for all children until Playtime Company made a horrible decision. The competition among toys at that time was very tough. Playtime Company started having very low sales, and as a result, it went bankrupt. That desperation led them to make extreme decisions. Instead of improving what already worked, they decided to go for something quite dark. Take their most popular toys and bring them to life by any means necessary. With this, they would save a lot of money on employees, since their main goal with this project was to increase productivity, safety, and above all, amaze the world. This was the beginning of the Big Bodies Initiative. They needed a living person to transfer into a giant plush toy, and what better than to use innocent orphans? This way, no one would ask about them, and they wouldn't resist as much as a toy. Among these orphans was the boy who would inhabit the body of Huggy Wuggy. In fact, his life started to get much worse than it already was when he entered Playcare, the official orphanage of Playtime Company. So far, there isn't much information about this boy, but we have everything we need to know that his life was very tragic. From the very first day, they only treated him as a mere desperation, a lab rat. He never saw the sunlight again, nor did he ever hear anything about his possible family. But even so, he tried his best to pass the tests they gave him in the game station. And apparently, he always protected and cared about his friend's safety to the point of becoming violent. These qualities were what made him chosen to become Experiment 1170. This experiment was intended to be the security system for Playtime Company, but to achieve that, the poor boy had to go through a complete hell. After being chosen, he was taken to the deepest part of the factory, the Playtime Comber Laboratories, where he would begin to be conditioned to accept his fate as a plush toy. Every day they brainwashed him with disturbing projections, making him believe that being a plush toy was the best thing in the world.
Are you a plush toy? I've always been a plush toy. Isn't that the most beautiful thing in the world?
Until his surgery finally began, the boy was sedated and transferred into a gigantic 5.5 meter tall Huggy Wuggy plush toy. His organs, brain, and DNA were now inside a lethal monster. When he woke up, he couldn't believe what he had become, and immediately the process of losing his identity began. They kept brainwashing him so he would forget his past life and now accept that he is Huggy Wuggy. Of course, this confused him a lot and made him feel even more trapped being in those laboratories, constantly watched by scientists. But when he finally accepted that he was Huggy Wuggy, the worst began: the reprogramming. Here they taught him how to use his body to reason and react according to his new identity. Being the lethal monster boy, personally, his behavior was quite different from the others. Being one, they punished him with pain. Every time he made a mistake, or when he wanted to get out of control, they made him obey and even humiliate himself to make him completely loyal and obedient.
Okay, so when you hear the music, you move your little feet, and when the music stops, you make sure you're in the light, okay?
Oh, look, it's a dog. It's a dog.
But the most disturbing thing was that they made him kill his companions and friends without mercy, to teach him to be cold and aggressive.
Huggy, why don't you give them some time? Wash them in the bad toy box?
No. Please, just tell.
Me who I...
Please don't put me in the box. Don't put me in the box. I'll be good. Oh, please don't put me in the box.
Let's go.
No.
No, I'm sorry, Puggy.
You're not going in there.
Don't worry.
We have a special visitor.
And every time he wanted to rebel, they would just put him to sleep with the red gas, which made him have horrible nightmares and headaches. In fact, Huggy Wuggy was still violent and rebellious, just like when he was an orphan. He had the potential for Playtime Co., but they just needed to control him a little more. That's when they created Kissy Missy, a companion who would help Huggy Wuggy calm down and forget. They possibly made a very strong bond form between the two of them, so that later they could use it against them. Most likely, they threatened Huggy Wuggy to make him obedient, or else they would hurt Kissy Missy with electroshock and torture. This idea was a success. Now, Huggy Wuggy had become the most perfect security system a company could have, but at what cost? All thanks to the sacrifice and horrible suffering of an innocent orphan child. But everything would change the day the hour of joy arrived. Here, all the experiments rebelled against all the staff of Playtime Company. Many thought that they would finally be free and happy. They thought that at last they would stop suffering, that this would be the day happiness returned to them. And so it was. They knew they couldn't go out into the outside world because they would simply be captured, tortured, and even still be part of experiments. The best thing was to stay in the factory and make it their new paradise. Huggy Wuggy was very happy together with Kissy Missy. In fact, she was the one he spent the most time with. He was finally happy, finally able to rest from so much mistreatment until the food started to run out. The experiments had to start devouring each other, and this was when different groups began to form. Some thought about staying together, while others only thought about surviving no matter what. Unfortunately, somehow, the prototype managed to persuade and manipulate Huggy Wuggy to stay with him, while Kissy Missy would be separated from her best friend. The prototype began to use Huggy Wuggy's strength and violence for his own benefit, making him more violent and more obedient than ever. And without Kissy Missy nearby, he would simply become a killing machine. That's how Huggy Wuggy spent a long time isolated and manipulated with no purpose in life. In fact, he simply stayed at the entrance of the factory with no one around him. Possibly by orders from the prototype, but also possibly just waiting for the day to simply die. This was until Player arrived. After so much time, he, Huggy Wuggy, finally fulfilled his purpose of being the security system again. But he was so unstable that he didn't measure his strength and ended up falling into the void. The impact was so strong that he was left unconscious and seriously injured. But the prototype still wanted him for his evil plans, so he didn't let him die. Literally, he tied up his intestines, stopped the bleeding, and stole one of his hands to integrate it into his own body. Huggy Wuggy was angrier than ever now. He wanted revenge, and that's how it was. And sometime later, he started roaming the labs again in search of Player. But here they showed us something that broke many hearts when Player used the brainwashing projections. Huggy Wuggy was left hypnotized, staring at the image of his one and only great friend, Kissy Missy, the only being in the world who made him feel happy and calm. Once again, as soon as he heard the projection start, he would run too fast to go see it. He still missed her. And when he was finally about to finish off Playa, Huggy Wuggy saw her again. After so many years, the two best friends had finally reunited. In fact, we can see that Huggy Wuggy can't believe it, and Kissy Missy knows she'll be able to calm him down. But that's where the greatest tragedy comes from. The prototype ends the lives of both of them. The prototype. He knew that together with Kissy Missy, Huggy Wuggy wouldn't be of any use to him. In fact, they would be a threat to him, and that's why he decided to end both of them. So far, we don't know if Huggy Wuggy and Kissy Missy are still alive, or if they were finally able to rest from all the torment that life brought them. What do you think? What will happen in the next chapter of Poppy Playtime? Did you already know the whole sad story behind Huggy Wuggy? I'll see you in the next video.